Hello, Kindred Spirits, and welcome back to Bits and Bob's Divination. My name is Caitlin, and together we are going to be diving in to see what the charms and cards have to say about your blessings, relationships, and Virgo season messages for the month of September. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Alright, so welcome back, my beautiful kindred spirits, and anyone new who may be joining us here on the channel. I do pick a card readings, I have master guides and charm casting, and lots of grimoire tours and art magic to check out as well. So feel free to subscribe if you haven't already, or hit the notification bell to be notified. But today we are going to be exploring your month of September, the blessings, relationship messages, and other Virgo season messages coming forward for you. Whether you're a Virgo or not, this is still going to apply, and if you are a Virgo, happy birthday for your season. But before we really start diving into all of that, I just want to let you know that I have Mabon spell and ritual papers that I hand make myself ready for you for all of your magical goods for this autumn equinox. And if you're interested in getting your own snail mail reading, where I send a letter to you in the mail, about 3 or 4 pages long, chock full of information on any question or query on your mind, then definitely feel free to reach out for those as well. All of the information, any questions that you want to ask, or how to reach out will all be listed down below alongside helpful and honest reviews. And let's get right into it. So these are the 3 different piles that I have here for you all today. Each one is a different crystal, and I went for sort of a fun little color theme here that felt very the beginning of fall. So let's start here with pile number 1. We've got this crystal of citrine, although I'm sure it's probably not a real citrine, but regardless, we've got citrine here for pile number 1. For pile number 2 here is this little piece, this thin piece of jade with this dark jade color. So if you're feeling called to this one, that would be pile number 2. And then last but not least here for pile number 3, there is this jagged piece of carnelian. So if you're feeling called to this one, then that's pile number 3. And as always, before you start heading off to the timestamps, I like to invite you to take a deep and cleansing breath here with me in just a moment, so you can really connect with your guides, connect with your own intuition, connect with the piles, and to sort of ground yourself. So let's go ahead and take that deep breath together here now. And there are no rules or any ways in which you have to choose the piles here. You can choose all 3 of the piles if you feel called to them. You can choose a pile, change your mind, take little bits from each of them, or just choose one. There really are no rules here. All the timestamps will be down below in the description, so you can find them easily and through the chapter marks of this video. And like I said, if you're interested in those magical things for the Mabon season, or if you're interested in those snail mail readings, I'll have all of that listed down below. So let's go ahead and get started here with pile number 1. Hello group 1, if you've decided to choose this piece of citrine, then this is the pile for you, as we are going to be exploring what you have coming in for September for the start of the season for Virgo season. So happy birthday to any Virgos out there. And we're going to be exploring this with the charms, several different oracle decks, the main tarot deck being the Antique Anatomy Tarot, which I haven't pulled out in a while because it always gives me spring and fall vibes. So really happy to have this one back out. And yeah, and I'll have everything as always listed in the description down below in case you're curious what we're using here today. But we're going to get right into it, into the meat of it. So we're going to look first into 3 or more cards, looking into the general themes and energy coming forward for you for the month of September. And then we'll move into blessings, relationship messages, and Virgo season messages, as well as the charms. So definitely feel free to get yourself cozy, settled, comfortable, and pause if you need to meditate on the cards or call in your guides, however you wish. But let's see, group 1, what do you got going on for the month of September? Group 1, the month of September. I'm also feeling this other top card, and we'll see if there's anything else coming forward for you for the month of September. And you also have the 10 of Wands. Wow. very heavy month for sure. There's a lot going on here. You've got the Three of Blades, also known as the Three of Swords, the 10 of Rods, or the 10 of Torches, or the 10 of Wands, and then you also have the Tower here as well. So not super like exciting and fun cards that we have going on here, but because the Three of Blades is the center here, I feel like the Three of Swords tends to get this this idea that it is only about heartbreak and like really heart-wrenching things, but sometimes the Three of Blades can talk about things where we just get stuck mentally with something that really pertains to the heart, really pulls at the heartstrings. So there's something right now that is just really emotionally quite draining for you. Even though it's a blade card, which usually represents the mind, with the way that it's coming up here for you, it feels much more emotionally charged. And so something is happening right now. Something is shifting under the surface for you because you do have the Tower. So something, and the Tower is a very major card. It's the biggest card happening within your reading here so far. And the Tower card usually represents something that we've built a really good, or we thought we built a really, really good foundation for something. Something that is a belief, is an idea, a literal foundation, you know, like if you want to take it really literally, like a home foundation or something like that. But say a foundation in a relationship, whatever, wherever it really feels like it's pertaining for you, that you think you've really built something really, really good, right? A really beautiful foundation, but it's crumbling. The foundation isn't lasting as long as you'd hoped it would, or something is coming in to create a really big, powerful, and impactful change for you. That's going to probably throw you off quite a lot, and it's going to be quite emotionally charged. Because there is such this mind element to it, it does make me feel like it's a belief about yourself or about others. This doesn't necessarily need to be a bad change. A lot of the time, there's really good changes that come from this, right? Especially when it comes to breaking down a belief system that maybe wasn't working for us, or it worked for us at one time and needs to change. But the Tower usually is change that we're not expecting. So there's going to be an unexpected change that's going to come in that's going to feel quite overwhelming, and it's going to kind of throw you off your step. I know this isn't like the most exciting reading. I'm going to see what you get for blessings and other things to kind of see where you've got things in your favor, but the suit of rods, and specifically the 10, is usually showcasing a person holding a whole bunch of torches. They're kind of fumbling with them. They don't really know how to get across the road with them. They can hardly see because they're covering their face. And so in this case, I really feel like, again, something is going to kind of blindside you that you're not really seeing because you've got all these other things that you're juggling possibly in your life right now, specifically in September, that you're not really going to see that the foundation is crumbling until it's crumbled and you're kind of just falling into the pieces. And so definitely not the most exciting reading so far, and I'm really sending a lot of grace, gentleness, care towards you all. And I'm curious to see what you get for your blessing, so we can see what's coming in that's actually on your side and in your favor this month. So what is on the side of group 1 here? What do they need, and what would be most useful to them this month? The tool or energy most in their favor. The energy most in their favor this month. Group 1. Definitely feel free to connect with the cards. So I'm going to take the one that was sticking out with the Weasel. Ooh, interesting. The Weasel and Pine, introspection. Oof, that just kind of adds to everything, but in a really good way. So there's something that maybe you're introspecting on. Definitely is making me think, again, it's a belief system that's changing, a belief about yourself, a belief about another, possibly even a relationship sort of shake up here with the idea of like someone weaseling in or being kind of a weasel. But yeah, there's definitely some introspection. The Weasel and Pine specifically are like connected to the winter season. So a lot of the time in the winter, we're resting, we're looking back over things, we're reconnecting. So this also could be something that, like I said, even though it feels like it's happening right now, maybe it's something that, again, has been crumbling for a while, and it's just now that you've had the time to notice it. Now you're having to possibly actually face the crumbling you've already been noticing. So this is, since it is in your favor, it's telling me that taking the time to look back on past beliefs, the ways that you've maybe had to act off those beliefs, the behaviors that have come out of those beliefs, and the systems that surround those beliefs, how are they all interacting and intertwining here to create this foundation that is crumbling? And I think there's a lot of power in introspecting and going back and not just looking back, not just reflecting back, but actually analyzing the data in a way, which is a very Virgo season sort of thing to have come up. So I'm curious what your Virgo season messages will be as well. But yeah, definitely coming in to help you out there, especially since, like I said, you had this blindsided feeling to it. So looking ahead of time, maybe even having this reading, is going to help you to be able to move through this in a much more graceful and less sudden way. Because I think you'll already have introspected or taken the time to, face the cracks rather than, stuff them down. So that's definitely something that's in your favor, a tool in which is very much in your favor this month. So let's go ahead and shift our focus here towards relationships. So we're going to see any relationship messages that are coming in on the whole for the month. So you can go ahead and send in your energy towards a specific relationship in your life. It doesn't have to be romantic. It could be platonic, with a friend or with a family member, a spirit, or yourself. But we're going to be looking into that on the whole. So let's see collectively what the energy is for relationships for the month of September. Group 1. The month of September for Group 1 here. Ooh, dare. What an interesting one with everything you have going on here. Dare. Take a risk and fly. Fly feels like freedom. Like, I don't always get that from this card. Sometimes it's just like to fly playfully or to literally move or travel. But this feels like freedom from something. To dare yourself to do something that you've been maybe holding back on or withholding yourself from for maybe a while. It could be related to these cracks, but it doesn't have to be. It could be daring yourself to share your feelings, or the relationship that's crumbling could also, like I said, this could be a very positive thing. Even though it might be overwhelming, it can be a positive thing, right? Like, say it's crumbling a friendship that was always meant to be romantic, right? Or it's crumbling a relationship that just isn't working, and maybe it sucks at first, but down the line, right, daring yourself to make that first move to crumble those cracks could be really useful. So this could be a very positive change, even though it's going to be quite sudden. So taking a risk and flying, finding some sort of freedom, daring yourself to say something, to do something, or to share something within a relationship is really coming forward. And if you don't really feel like you're sure what this is, maybe someone else is going to be daring themselves to tell you something that they've been withholding. So, interesting one for sure. But we're going to now shift away from relationships and look into Virgo season messages. If you're enjoying this reading so far, though, or you've gotten something out of it, definitely be sure to give this video a like. But like I said, you guys have had a very interesting pile, to say the least. But let's go ahead and look into Virgo season. And Virgo season, like I said earlier, is very introspective. They're very analytic people. And the season, whether you're a Virgo or not, affects all of us. So there's a lot of analyzing, a lot of researching, looking into things, seeing things from a very practical and poignant point of view. So I'm going to see how that point of view is kind of affecting your month. So group 1 here, some Virgo season messages for group 1. For the month of September and throughout the rest of August if you're watching this early. Okay, so we've got the Tulip, a very strong card. Really good to see with everything else you have coming in here, because it's very opposite to the Tower. The Tulip stands very tall and they're very resilient. If you guys have ever seen tulips, right, they're very early perennial flowers, and they grow tall and strong to withstand those harsh winter winds that are still coming in, the frosts that are still coming in, right? So they're really strong. That's what I'm really feeling from this, is strength and resilience to adapt through this situation, to adapt to a harsher environment this month. And then you also have holly here, which is really interesting since I was just talking about that winter season, and this one is in the winter suit. Holly can be a branch of making a decision or decision making in some way, but I'm not really getting a lot of that. Instead, I'm getting the feeling of like peace, peace of mind, this feeling of like surrendering to peace after a storm, right? There's this feeling of like the rainbow after a storm. What is the word that I'm looking for, or the phrase? It's like the opposite of the calm before the storm. It's like the peace after the storm. That's the feeling that I'm getting from this holly. But it's like I said, you kind of have to go through the storm first. So there's going to be a bit of a flurry. There's going to be a bit of a harsh wind coming in for you. But like I said, introspection is going to be your biggest asset here. It's going to help you the most to introspect, to look back at things, to rebuild with this after this tower has fallen, to rebuild a better, stronger foundation, one that's going to bring you so much more peace, and you're going to be far more resilient from it. It's going to show you a lot of your strength. It's not going to give you strength. It's not going to tell you, because sometimes we say like, that a difficult situation made us stronger. It's just showcasing the strength that was already within you, So it's really nice to see these two cards are on your side this month, especially since, like I said, you weren't really getting a ton on your side. And I was like, come on, I'm rooting for you guys. So really exciting to see those two. But let's go ahead and finish off with some charms to get any more clarity that we need here. So definitely feel free to connect with them, send your own energy and meditate. And let's pull some charms for you, group 1. Okay, we got lots of rolly ones going on here, which love to just fall right off. So let's just get a couple more. Why not? Oh, do you see that peace sign falling right on their head? That is so good to see. Okay, so let me go ahead and zoom you in. What I thought was interesting when I first started is the two charms that came up in our first little round of charms was, oops, of course I'm going to drop it. It was this little spiral charm. And whenever I see this one, it makes me think of a cycle that's continuing to go round and round and round, or like spiraling thoughts. And you got that one here on that same feeling that I said earlier, where you're feeling slightly overwhelmed, that there's a lot of emotions connected to this foundation, and that it's something that's going to kind of spiral for a little bit. But what I was noticing is, like, again, that peace of mind from the holly is coming forward through introspection. When you look back on the situation, once you've kind of collected yourself, found a little bit of peace of mind after the foundation has fallen, and you're starting to pick up those pieces, is that by looking back, you're going to realize just how much better it's going to be from the fact that this change has been made. It doesn't always feel that way at first. It might only feel that way 2 years from now. And you're like, whoa, that sucked at the time, but like, I actually kind of needed that. That's the feeling that I'm getting here. You also have the fluffy charm. Whenever I think of this one, it makes me think, like a pom-pom. It's really fluffy and squishy. And so here with the tulip, it's showcasing, your strength is in allowing yourself to be more gentle, right? Allowing yourself to break a little bit, but bounce right back, right? Because if you squeeze this, it just bounces right back. So that's the feeling that I'm getting here from this, is that you're going to bounce back faster than you think. And you also have the number 4 showing up here over by Dare to Risk and Fly, and the 4 was upside down, and 4s are all about foundations. So the fact that you had a foundation upside down here that is, again, sort of falling like this tower, tells me that there's something, again, this change might come in relationships or beliefs. That's really coming forward. You also have the W and M charm showing up here by Holly and by that peace of mind again. So someone who might be coming in to give you a bit of peace of mind, or where this is related to, might be related to someone with the initials of W or M. And also it could be a motherly figure in your life or parental figure, because this is a charm that actually represents my mom. I have another B in here as well, but the B in general always makes me think of my mom, so that's maybe a feeling that you guys get as well. Otherwise, you can see it just as a bee charm, the bee usually representing like the queen bee being on top of things. But honestly, I'm not really getting much from the bee. Like, it's mostly like the mom feeling, which makes sense with the M. You also have the bull coming in here next to Holly. Again, the bull can represent a lot of strength because it fell on the Virgo season 1, and Virgos are earth signs. Tauruses are also earth signs ruled by the bull. This foundation may have started during Taurus season around the end of April, start of May. So there could be something showcasing a bit of timing there for you and where this might be connected. But overall, those are all of the charms and cards that I have for you here, Group 1. I really do hope this has been useful to you and has given you some tools, some ideas, things to consider and think about as you move through these really big shifts and changes in your life. I don't like to sugarcoat these readings, so I'm not over here to say that it's going to be necessarily a super easy month. But I do think that, like I said, a lot of things are pointing to your resilience, the strength coming out for you, that there will be peace of mind, that this isn't going to last as long as you think, and that it's actually going to give you a lot more freedom in the long run, or at least give you more peace of mind. So really nice to see those other aspects coming forward. But if you did enjoy this reading, definitely be sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below if you feel open to it about what this might have been, or if you found other different ideas coming forward in the cards or the charms through your own intuition. And if you are interested in more art magic videos, grimoire tours, charm casting, master guides, then definitely feel free to subscribe. As I put out new videos every single Monday, and I love to sprinkle those in, and I have tons and tons of pick a card readings that you can check out already on the channel, so definitely feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. And if you're interested in getting your own private and personal reading, I have snail mail readings open right now where I send a letter to you in the mail. It's typewritten on a vintage typewriter, sent straight to you, wax sealed closed, and I also put a lot of time, care, energy, and consideration for your specific situation in which you want to look into. So definitely feel free to reach out through an email or through an Instagram DM if that's something you're interested in. I have more helpful and honest reviews down below through my Instagram and more information there as well. Definitely feel free to ask any questions that you have, but I'm going to go ahead and end it there. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello, Group 2. If you've decided to choose this piece of Jade, then this is the pile for you while we explore your month of September, looking into the blessings, relationship cards, and also diving into Virgo season. So happy birthday to any Virgos out there. This is still going to apply even if you're not a Virgo, as the whole season is for everyone. We're going to be doing that with the charms here, several different oracle decks, and the tarot deck being the Antique Anatomy Tarot, which I haven't pulled out in a while, and it's already packing a punch here with Group 1, so I'm curious to see what you guys have coming in here today, but I'll have all of this listed down below in the description in case you're curious. But let's get right into it. Feel free to get yourself cozy, get some water, a nice snack, some tea, whatever you need, and we're going to get right into it. So go ahead and send your energy into the deck and the supplies here, and I'll pull some cards. So we're going to start out first by pulling 3 different cards or more cards, looking into the main themes and energies for you this month. So what do we need to know about Group 2's month of September? What main themes and energies are really sticking out to look at and seek out here? So Group... Ooh, that one really did a little whack there. So we've got the 2 of Coins showing up here, also known as the 2 of Pentacles. A card of balance and rebalancing, adjusting, I would say. It's is a really good keyword for that. You also got the Knight of Elixirs, or the Knight of Cups here. And I'm also going to take the one on the bottom here because it just felt right. You also have the Seven of Blades, also known as the Seven of Swords. And you have the Eight of Rods, also known as the Eight of Wands. So we've got a lot of different energies coming forward, quite a fast-moving month, because whenever I see, when we're looking at timing, this is the fastest moving card in the tarot deck, alongside the Chariot. Like, this is very fast-moving energy. It's very swift, it's very quick, and it's very... as you can see, like in parallel lines. So it just feels like everything, you just got a lot of momentum, a lot of energy. You're very much flowing and moving with such deep determination and motivation this month. So if you were hoping for a motivating month, it's definitely one where there's a lot more fire to stoke your flame kind of feeling, right? Or fast, swift moving energy in your favor. You also have a couple of other things. So we have these two coins, right? We were talking about how you're kind of balancing something here. And whenever I think of the Two of Coins, it represents sort of, it kind of makes me think of like a teeter-totter, or a situation where you're kind of teetering back and forth, constantly having to readjust and find balance. Like, have you ever seen people do like those rock balancing videos? It's kind of like that. They're constantly readjusting and trying to find center, and center isn't the same for every rock, right? It's different for every rock. So even for you, as you continue to adjust for the month, something new comes in, you have to readjust. Something new comes in over here, you have to readjust again. And so there's going to be a lot of adjusting, rebalancing, finding your center this month. I don't think that it's going to be like crazy or anything, like where you're feeling overwhelmed by it. But I do think that that's going to be a big part of your month when it comes to both timing, the energy of the month in general, that it's fast and swift, and you've got a lot of rebalancing. Other things that are coming in, though, which is really interesting, they feel kind of separated from the rest of them, even though they're between, is you have this Knight of Elixirs, and the Knight of Elixirs, this says fertility tonic, but whenever I think of the Knight of Cups, they're very motivated by their heart over their head, right? They are motivated by what makes their heart sing, what gives them joy, what makes them, giggle and kick their feet, and makes them feel all fluttery inside. So when I'm thinking of this one, what is really getting you going this month and maybe motivating you is listening to what is kind of lighting you up, making you feel giggly, that's making you feel quite joyous and joyful. And I feel like that's going to be where your motivation is coming from. That's where your motivation is rooted. The one thing that happens, though, is when we get sort of so deeply into that space of that playful, almost childlike space of just purely working off of joy and excitement for the things that you're doing, is sometimes we can get a little bit like out of touch of reality. And the things that's showing up here, maybe this is what you're having to balance, is kind of staying practical but also staying fantastical, if that makes sense. Staying in fantasy while also still needing to pay the bills kind of feeling, is you have the Seven of Swords here, or the Seven of Blades. And the Seven of Swords usually showcases something where things are a little uncertain as to what is happening. This is like, if I had a way of explaining this is like a giant question mark. You don't necessarily know the context of what's happening here. Things are kind of flying in and out. You can even see it with the flowers behind them. You can't really tell how many swords are here. And so when I'm seeing this one, it makes me think that you might be a little out of touch of reality as you move through this month. Possibly it could just be like literally halfway through the month, you're like, how is it already the 20th? That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting with it next to this card, that you're just going to feel like you're floating right through the month and you don't realize how much time is going by, right? You're having so much fun, you don't realize how much time is just cranking on by. And so there could be some missed opportunities. There could be things that come your way that you don't notice. There could be moments where you've forgotten to pay that thing, or to check back in on something with the kids, or whatever it might be. So making sure that you stay with this balance on both the fantastical, happy-go-lucky feelings, and making sure you're still rooted and staying in the practical world and quite grounded, I think is going to be really important for you. to kind of keep your balance here. I think that's what you're teetering on. So with that all in mind, let's go ahead and pull you a card to look into what energy is most going to be in your favor this month. This is sort of your blessing card from Spirit, an energy most in your favor, a tool that's best in your tool belt, right? Let's go ahead and see what that might be. So group 2 here. What energy is most in your favor this month? Or a blessing card coming in. Ooh, I just saw a possum last night. That's interesting. So anyway, the possum and peony. And it says here bashfulness, which is really interesting because like a possum is very shy, bashful, or I would actually even argue that they are just playing it safe is the feeling that I get here. And so I feel like you're really playing something safe. When it comes to maybe the feelings that I was talking about earlier, I kind of got this feeling, I don't know why like I didn't say it, but I had this feeling earlier that maybe what is hidden behind all these flowers and like where you can't really see reality isn't necessarily because you aren't in touch with reality, but possibly that you're hiding your own joy, hiding your own feelings and expressing your own joy, excitement, right? That bashfulness, that shyness, kind of hiding behind, it almost feels like hiding behind a parent, right? When you're like 5 behind their leg. That's the feeling that I'm getting here, is that some of you, it might have been everything I already talked about, but I feel like for a few of you, it's also that you're feeling a little bit shy this month, that you don't really want to show all of your emotions or put all your cards on the table, right? You're kind of keeping some stuff, you're reserving a little bit because it's a way of protecting yourself. And so that's what I'm getting here, is that safeguarding yourself can actually be really impactful and important for a few of you. And that's actually going to be really important to your month. Maybe it's because certain family members are a little nosy and they're trying to get into stuff that they don't need to be into, and that you don't have to share that with them. It could be for other reasons too, but regardless of your reasons, I really feel like that could be something that's in your favor. Even though we see shyness as usually something that's, maybe not as good, I feel like by reserving those feelings, it could actually be really helpful for you in the long run when it comes to certain people who don't deserve to know how you're feeling or what you've got going on and what's lighting you up in this world, right? Other things with bashfulness too is that even depicted in this card, you can see them balancing that rope up here, or balancing between the peony. Almost like the Hanged Man or Hanged One card. So I really do get this feeling too that you're, by taking a bit of rest or taking a bit of time out from allowing other people in who are just sort of kind of trying to push boundaries with you, is gonna be quite in your favor. Not letting someone have all of the information, not showing all of your hand, I think is actually a really skillful way of going about things. If you think of a possum, right, they play dead, and they do it not because they like doing it, but because it's actually a really successful way to get predators to be losing interest. So if you want people in your life who feel like predators trying to get into your space, don't give them any of that information, and that's going to be something that's going to be in your favor, because they're going to lose interest and not care anymore. So that's really nice to see. Let's just take a moment to now look at your relationship cards. We're going to be seeing what energy is coming in for relationships on the whole this month for the collective, but feel free to send your energy in if you know of a specific person that you're thinking about here, or a spirit, or even yourself, in which you want to look into. So let's see, group 2 here, relationship messages. What is the energy for relationships on the whole for group 2? I'm also feeling the other top card here. So you got both bloom with you bloom and attract more than butterflies, right? As well as radiance, keep your head held high and follow the sun. This feels like a stick it to 'em kind of feeling. But and it kind of feels like, again, that joyous feeling. So the people who actually are there to support you, that you don't feel like you have to do this play dead situation for, I really feel like you are joyful, radiating the things that you really care about, really putting your passion, motivating yourself into the world. There's something really nice about that with the relationships that are really working in your life. As for the and attract more than butterflies, that felt again like when you're blooming, when you're showing someone your full bloom, they're able to then pick at that exposed bloom, right? And there's this feeling that you're attracting people maybe that you don't necessarily wish or want in your life right now. So when it comes to what we talked about earlier, that's what I feel like this is connected to, where there's also a second coin literally to it, where I feel like there's, you're trying to balance that radiance. So I feel like everything is just kind of coming full circle here. So let's go ahead and finish off your reading by looking into, maybe not finish off because we're going to pull some charms as well, but we're going to finish off the cards of this reading looking into Virgo season for you. So happy birthday as always to any Virgos out there. Virgo season is a really great season to sort of embrace the idea of kind of living in reality, and the fact that we had that coming in here, because they're very practical people. Virgos tend to be very practical, analytical. They really like to dive deep into like dissecting things in reality and kind of picking them apart, analyzing, creating something better and newer and continuing trying to better themselves in that way. And so the fact that you had that energy of like kind of not wanting to look at reality, I'm very curious to see what comes in for you here. So what is the energy coming forward here for group 2 for Virgo season? For Virgo season here. Okay, so we've got oleander with the sort of snake image here. Let's see, anything else? Okay. And you also got the apple. Immediately made me think of that current, TikTok song of brat season. So, unrelated, but that just kind of came in for me. But the apple usually represents finishing something, completing something, or being at the precipice of finishing something. You're like so close, you can like taste that apple, but you're not there yet. So there could be something that you're finishing or completing during this time that's really important for you to finish and complete. Maybe it's to do with everything we've talked about here, but it kind of feels unrelated. It feels like it's something that's very just personal to you, maybe a personal project that you're working on. Maybe that's what you're motivated towards. But it's just sort of finishing something off and having sort of a clean cut there. And maybe that's something you're having to analyze and look through. And that's why Virgo season is coming through with this specific energy, is that you're trying to complete and finish something off. There's also a protective feeling to apples as well. So that same protection over yourself and over your own boundaries is really coming forward. And then you got the snake, which the snake in the grass, that kind of imagery coming forward makes sense with everything we had, attracting more than butterflies, attracting the snake into your life. So I really feel like there's someone maybe coming in, weaseling their way in, or trying to get into places in your life that they aren't welcome. And I think this is just sort of continuing to comment on that. But this is the only energy that's a little bit different. So definitely look into, I'm definitely curious to see where the charms land and if we get any more information on this one. So let's see what those have to say. So feel free to connect with the charms and let's pull some for you, group 2. And of course, we've got nothing on this one. That would be how it is, right? Sometimes the charms like to be mysterious like that. So let's go ahead and look. This one did try to fall on it though. So, and this is the like growing leaf charm. So it makes me think of something you're still growing through or finishing off again. Sort of like the leaves of the season, right? It's kind of the end, at least. Actually, anywhere, right? It doesn't matter which hemisphere you're in. Regardless, you're sort of ending a season and moving into the next. But specifically when it comes to leaves, right? As we hit fall, we've got to like finish those things up before winter. So there might be just some projects in terms of timing with Virgo season that's important for you. You've got a lot of transformation happening here with the butterfly and the idea of you're attracting more than butterflies, and that fell on this one. feels like a huge connection. Could be related to a friend in your life, because we did get the F. Otherwise, this can relate to literally the F word kind of came in my mind, kind of like you were flipping someone off. But I'm also getting the feeling that it could be related to an initial for this person or the people involved. You also have on top of the possum next to the peonies, you have the little, what dog is this called? A poodle. Oh my gosh, totally couldn't come up with it, but the little poodle charm here. And the poodle represents sort of grooming or looking after yourself in some way. Kind of reminds me again of this feeling of like not wanting to show everything. And like a dog, even though a poodle looks really nice and sweet, they're still going to bite back and they're still going to bark back if people get into their area, in their territory. And I think people forget that about poodles. So some sort of energy still going in there. We've got the focus charm showing up here as well. So this is just energy that's really going to take up a lot of your time and maybe your mental space this month. You also have the little tiny little beetle or bug. So it makes me think of someone who's bugging you. And so something is definitely bugging you this month, and we all kind of know what that is. And then the last thing that you have here, you've got the divine timing charm. I also think of this just in general because it showed up the way that it did on the 2 coins, right? And then you have the 2 coins happening here like an hourglass. Makes me think that, again, you're just that same readjustment feeling. They're constantly readjusting this month for your own personal balance and your own personal sort of homeostasis here. So it didn't really give us a lot of new information, but it is nice to see things sort of wrapped up there with the charm. So if you did enjoy this reading, definitely be sure to give this video a like and let me know in the comments down below if you saw something else in the charms, if other things were really calling out to you. If you also saw a possum just yesterday, I'd love to hear. And if you're interested in these pick a card readings, I do them every single Monday, as well as sprinkling in some for art magic, some grimoire tours, an entire master guide on charm casting that you can go ahead and check out as well. So definitely feel free to subscribe if you haven't already and turn on the bell notifications so you don't miss any of the videos. And if you are interested in getting a reading even deeper and further beyond whatever we've talked about here, or on another question or query or theme in your life right now, definitely feel free to reach out, as I would love to send you a snail mail reading where I send a letter to you in the mail. It's usually 3 to 4 pages long, completely full, chocked full of information on the question or query in your mind. And I typewrite it on a vintage typewriter, so it's easy to read. I wax seal it closed, so it's only for your eyes. And I make sure to put a lot of care, consideration into your question and your theme. So definitely feel free to reach out if that's something you're interested in. If you have any questions, lots of information down below and how to reach out, and lots of helpful reviews and honest reviews as well. So feel free to check those out if you haven't already. Mabon papers are also out, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello, Group 3. If you decide to choose this piece of Carnelian, then this is the pile for you, as we are going to be exploring your month of September. We're going to be seeing all of the different blessings that are coming your way, all the main energies. We're going to look into relationships. We're going to see what the charms have to say, and we're also going to be exploring Virgo season. Even if you're not a Virgo, this is still going to apply, as it is a season for all of us. And if you are a Virgo, happy birthday as well. We're going to be doing all of this with the charms, several different oracle decks here, the main tarot deck being the Antique Anatomy Tarot, which I'm really excited about. It's been really packing a punch so far, so I'm very excited to see what you guys get. All of the information and sort of a big list of all of the different decks and supplies here will be listed down below in case you're curious. And yeah, let's get right into it. So let's see, Group 3, what you got going on for the month of September. So we're going to be pulling 3 or more cards, looking into those main energies. So feel free to get yourself cozy, settled, comfortable, some tea, some water, a nice snack, a blanket, whatever you need. And feel free to connect with the cards as well. I always feel like that makes a really big difference, even if it seems silly. And let's see, Group 3 here. What do you got going on for the month of September? Group 3, the month of September. What is it looking like for you? What are those main energies coming forward for the month of September for you? Group 3. So you've got first off the 8 of Elixirs, also known as the 8 of Cups here, which is basically the Let It Go card. You've got a Let It Go potion here, a Wake Up potion, the Void, a Soul's Journey, an Aura Cleanse. I can talk about despair as well, and trying not to kind of fall into it. So whenever I see the 8 of Cups, it usually represents needing to step away from something or move away from something that isn't emotionally fulfilling or satisfying you anymore, towards something that would, or at least heading in a direction that is better than where you were. So there is something there, needing to emotionally detach from something. So let's see the context around that. Group 3 here. Group 3, the month of September. Group 3, let's get one more. All right, so you've got the 10 of Blades here, as well as the 7 of Rods. And so we've got a couple of different things going in here. I can see why there's something you would like to let go of or move past, because the 10 of Blades usually represents an ending, something that needed to end, and usually a lot of relief comes from this card. At least to me, I always feel like it does. It's usually something that you've been kind of pitted against for a while. You've been feeling that despair, that everything is against me kind of feeling, and there's something that needs to end or finish. This could literally just be a project that you're finishing, but usually it represents something a little bit more deep, something a little bit more difficult possibly to move through. But in the end, you feel a lot of relief because you did. And the 8 of Cups can also talk about a lot of relief, right? When we let go of something, it can feel very difficult in the moment, but usually we feel like a huge weight has been lifted off of us. And so I feel like in the moment, some of the things that you're going to be facing this month are going to be about letting go, about releasing, about knowing when something isn't working anymore and needing to walk away for your own mental health, your physical health. However you see it kind of coming forward, but it really feels like there's this need for a release so that you can feel that relief. And then you also have the 7 of the 7 of Torches here, or the 7 of Wands, or Rods. Oh my gosh, there's so many different terms for it, but regardless, the 7 here of Rods is showcasing sort of being, again, sort of that same feeling of feeling pitted against something. And this one, usually you literally are seeing it. You're feeling pitted against, you're kind of stuck in a corner. Whereas the 7 of Rods is a ton of people who aren't on your side, and only a few that are on your side. So there's this feeling of someone kind of pushing your buttons, kind of pushing a bit of a boundary, but not like enough to like totally throw you off. There's this feeling with the 7 that you are possibly introspecting, because the 7, in general, the number 7 can represent introspection or looking back on something, analyzing something. And so you could have been, this might just be the month that you're just not taking it anymore. You're not allowing that energy to come forward anymore because you've reflected on it and you're over it. So there is this feeling that it's not something that started possibly this month, but it's something that will be ending this month. You know what I mean? Or at least it's in your power to do so. So that's sort of the energy that we have coming forward, but let's see what is most in your favor this month by looking into a animal and plant card. So we're going to be seeing what blessings are coming forward from Spirit, or you can see this as a card of what's most in your favor, a tool that's best in your tool belt this month, right? So we're going to be seeing that for you. So group 3, what is the energy most in your favor this month, group 3? What is group 1? So you've got the raccoon and sycamore. I love this card. It's just such a pretty one. I love little raccoons. And it says here, curiosity. Interesting, with everything else you had coming in here of wanting to, change things up, letting things go, releasing, right? That's like the opposite of what you'd think you'd get, right? Because why would we want to get curious about that? But like I said, you had this introspection, this like you're not going to let it needle at you anymore. So you're getting curious about it. And sometimes we have to get curious about our feelings. We have to get curious enough to be like, okay, why do I feel this way? Why is this happening? I'm curious like a little kid who's just learning why the sky is blue. That's the feeling that I'm getting here from Raccoon and Sycamore. Outside of that, though, you might just have curiosity to be your superpower this month. Asking questions, looking for more whys, not letting someone like gaslight you back into a situation, and just allowing certain behaviors to continue just because they always have. Be like a little kid, needle at it. Ask the questions, ask why, get curious, see why it isn't working anymore, why something maybe needs to end or change or shift, or need to walk away and get space from it. Because curiosity is at the heart of that, because we're not allowing ourselves to just let it be what it is. You know, sometimes as adults, we just allow things to be. It's always been this way, so it's always going to be this way. But it doesn't have to be, right? And so that curious mindset, I think, is going to be really in your favor this month. Let's go ahead and see and shift our way towards relationships. So we're going to be seeing a relationship card and message here for you to look at the whole for the month, but feel free to send your energy in towards a specific relationship that you're thinking of, whether that's with a family member, a friend, a romantic relationship, with a spirit, or yourself. But let's go ahead and see what relationships are looking like for you, group 3. What is the energy of relationships this month look like for group 3 for the month of September? Group 3, the month of September. Okay, so you have both hidden depths. You only see the surface. Look beyond, with this little lotus here, which is a really good card, or rather symbol of like restoration or moving through a really difficult, sticky, icky situation, but rising above it. So there's something showing up there with hidden depths. And then you also have adapt. You will get yourself where you want to be. That feels powerful as well. You've got these little roses, because like I said, you'll get yourself where you need to be. All of this is in your grasp. Like, you are the one calling the shots here, is the feeling that I'm getting. This may be energy that's coming forward. It's the energy that's most likely, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you don't have agency here. And I feel like if it is related to a relationship, I feel like there's a relationship that really needs to adapt, to shift, to change, or to pivot in some way, because there's something that you're either not sharing because you've been holding it in for a while. It's always been this way, so it'll always be that way. So there's this feeling too, right? They only see the surface, and you're showing them the beyond for a relationship that needs to change. If it isn't related to this, though, it could just be that there are going to be really big changes that are possibly happening within friends or family. Maybe you're having to adapt to a new situation that's coming forward for them, that's kind of unrelated to you, right? Something that they haven't shared with you that's going to shake things up or change things around a little bit. Maybe someone's moving, maybe someone is having a family, maybe there is something going on personally with them that's kind of causing them to adapt and change. So there's something going on there as well to consider, that it might be just kind of outside of you. Let's go ahead and look at your Virgo season messages as well. So like I said, even if you're not a Virgo, this is still going to relate to all of us because we're all in Virgo season now. And Virgos can be bringing about a lot of energy towards analyzing, practical energy, really looking towards the data, right? They're not here to, they're definitely looking towards like the truth of the situation. They're very grounded and look at the statistics and look and analyze things so that things can do better. And the fact that you have a lot showing up here of sort of not allowing yourself to stick with the situation anymore because, right, you're putting on a very practical lens and not having things just be because they always have to be that way, but rather that curious, playful, practical lens. We're going to see how that corresponds to Virgo season and how that maybe is relating to everything else here. So let's see group 3 here, what you got coming in for the month of September and specifically Virgo season. What do we need to hear here? Okay, so there was definitely one here, so we're going to take mistletoe. And let's see. So you've got both mistletoe and datura. I always feel like I'm saying that one wrong, but datura and mistletoe. And mistletoe is a really interesting one to have coming forward here, because the mistletoe usually represents a ceasefire. It's a putting down your weapons, putting down the harsh words, putting down the fighting gloves, and just coming to common ground, finding peace with the situation, or causing a ceasefire so you can just, analyze the situation and move forward. That could be, again, that situation that we were talking about earlier of needing to walk away from something, having a bit of a ceasefire, and it doesn't have to be like that you're ending something in its entirety. Like I said, it could just be you need a little bit of a break, you need a little time off, you need to recuperate or analyze the situation, ask the questions. But in that pause is going to be really important. And so that's coming forward. And the Virgo season energy of that practicality, of that analytic nature is really coming forward. And the reason why the ceasefire is needed, or this restful state. And then you also have datura here, which datura usually represents kind of connecting with the spirit realm, with loved ones that have passed. There's a lot of that kind of energy here. But it also, just generally looking at the imagery here, you see someone sort of reaching out, but one person is reaching out far more than the other is. One's like really reaching and the other just kind of like holding their hand there. And so it kind of feels again like there's this imbalance, this feeling of like one person's putting in far more effort than the other. This really does feel relationship based for a lot of you. It doesn't have to be romantic, but it definitely feels, deep into some sort of relationship with another person. Or it could also be like your relationship to your job, relationship to a habit, or something like that as well. But regardless, there's like this feeling of like where you maybe once were reaching hard for this. It's kind of like you've given up a lot of effort, or there's some sort of imbalance there. And that's maybe what you are analyzing, and maybe why this like time off to analyze the situation is needed. But let's go ahead and finish off with the charms. I feel like they're going to give us some more information that we really need to hear. So definitely feel free to send your energy in and we'll pull some charms for you. So here we go. Group 3, the month of September in Virgo season. Okay, so we have a lot falling straight in the center. These ones fell off, so I'm going to go ahead and drop them on. All in the center, so we've got a lot towards those questions. What are you questioning? What are you looking in? This is the context of the questions that you're going to be asking. So first off, the first one that fell, you got the long journey, the long haul. That's the feeling that I get from this one. It's going on a very long journey, or something that's been a long time coming. That's the feeling that I get here, and it showed up closest to the, letting go cards, or ending cards. So there could be just something that's been a long-term project, a long-term relationship, or a long-term belief system, habit, right? Whatever this is relating to, that is just sort of got you getting curious, asking those bigger questions. This one's starting to get a little grubby. I need to clean this one up. But it's like a little piece of rose quartz. So it could, again, be related to relationships. It always makes me think of a leaf, too, of turning a new leaf within a relationship. So this, looking back on the past, analyzing, checking back in with things could actually be very beneficial. Like I said, just taking a little bit of a break, a little bit of a pause to reassess things could be very positive for you. And it might just change sort of the culture of a relationship for you, as this is the culture charm for me. But something might be changing there in the nature of your relationship and how it moves forward, especially since it fell on the back leg of this raccoon. And so it's sort of, if you think of the leg as like a way of moving us forward, I think that to move forward within this relationship or within whatever might be ending if you don't completely end it, and you're just taking a bit of a break or that ceasefire moment. I really think that it's really important that you need to put down new boundaries, new rules, really lay down a new foundation here. Other things you have showing up here towards the front of the raccoon, the reason why this curiosity is needed is that there's a cycle that's been going for a while that needs to break, that there is a break needed here. And that's pretty obvious with everything we've gotten here, but this is the needing to break a cycle charm. And then you also got two other charms, one hiding underneath. This is the crush charm. Whenever I see this one, it usually relates to relationships. You've got these little hearts, right? So you have that showing up here with the blue moon. And the blue moon just happened, by the way. Not like an official blue moon. It's more of like an annual blue moon, but regardless, the blue moon just happened as of when I'm recording this. So it could be related to the reason why this has shifted is something to do with the moon cycles, or maybe even any moon magic or things that you've been asking for. But outside of that, I also think that this maybe feels like a once in a blue moon relationship. So it's not necessarily, or habit or whatever it is, there's this once in a blue moon feeling. But because it fell with the relationship, really feels like, again, related to relationships for you guys here. I don't like to pin it in because I know it's not that for everyone, but for the majority of you guys, I really feel like it is connected to a relationship, and one that feels like it's a once in a blue moon relationship. So it makes sense why you wouldn't want to completely break it off, completely, discard it or let it go. But there could just be something that you guys need to analyze, work through together, or talk it out, because the culture of your relationship isn't working. The foundation that you're building is on shakier ground, and you need to build a stronger one. And to do that, you have to analyze the situation, look back through it, have an open and honest communication here, and ask the questions that are needed to adapt this relationship. So those are all the cards and charms that I got here for you, group 3. I really hope this has been useful to you and gave you some ideas of the ways in which you're going to be moving through the month, things you could do, especially in relationships. And if you did enjoy this reading, definitely be sure to give this video a like. Really does help the channel, so thank you. And if you are interested in these pick a card readings, I put them out every single Monday, and I also have an entire master guide on charm casting. I do grimoire tours. I've got art magic videos out, so feel free to subscribe if you're curious about any of that, and press the notification bell as well if you haven't already, so you can be notified of when these videos go out right as they do. And if you'd like to look further into anything I've talked about here, definitely feel free to reach out for a snail mail reading where I send a letter to you in the mail. It's usually 3 or 4 full-page typed letters to you that's typed up on a vintage typewriter. It's wax sealed closed for your eyes only. I put a lot of care, time, consideration, and compassion into your specific question or query or theme that you're looking into. And I like to dive deep. So if that's something that you're interested in, definitely feel free to reach out through my email or an Instagram DM for any questions or anything you'd like for those. And I have lots of helpful and honest reviews down below and through the highlights of my Instagram. So with that all said, thank you so much for hanging out here with me today, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.